But now let's just talk about Deutsche Bank, which has set up a working group to review whether to move parts of its British divisions to Germany if the UK leaves the EU. The bank employs 9,000 people in the UK, but says no decisions have yet been made. Well, let's talk to Raoul Ruparel, who is Head of Economic Research at the think tank Open Europe. Thanks for joining us. Is this the sort of move you would expect companies to be making right now?
Well, I think as we get into the meat of EU reform and renegotiation and head towards the referendum, we will see more companies putting their views on record and saying what they believe about Brexit. And I think when it comes to financial services, it is a very sensitive area. It is an area where the UK does benefit from EU membership and the single market, and which would be very uncertain in the case of an EU exit. But what I would also like to see from companies such as Deutsche Bank is some constructive views on how to achieve EU reform, as in the end, if we get some EU reform, if we improve the UK's position, improve the EU as a whole, that is the most likely approach that will stop the chance of Brexit.
Does companies actually speaking out like this help in the process of putting pressure on there being reform?
Well, I think it's helpful if they do back it up with some concrete steps and explain why they believe their position to be what it is. I think if they just come out and say Brexit is terrible, we should not even consider it, and dismiss all of the implications around that, then that is not necessarily particularly helpful. I think, though, there is an important role for business to play in being constructive, in explaining to Cameron where the detailed reform proposals need to take place, how, for example, he can improve the financial services sector in the EU, and how, for example, he can improve the UK's position and influence over financial services regulation in the EU.
I mean, just yesterday we had the chairman of JCB saying that actually the UK shouldn't fear an exit from the European Union.
Well, very much so, and I think we're starting to see people come down on either side. And I think also the interesting divide between the two camps here of the financial services and the goods sector. I think what the JCB comments highlighted is that it's not necessarily just about the event of Brexit, but what happens before, if the EU can reform and if the UK's position can be improved, and if it does happen, what happens after. Does the UK continue to be an open and free trading nation? And also, does it manage to strike a free trade agreement with the EU, which I think many people agree, even if it did leave the EU, the UK would be able to get a trade agreement, at least on goods. But as I said before, financial services may be a bit more complicated, and that's why we might see this divide coming to the fore a bit more.
Raoul Ruparel of the think tank Open Europe, thanks very much.
Thank you.